السلام عليكم. أنا محمد أمين بالعربي. و جو سوي لان سبيكر اللي غادي يكون معكم اليوم في تاي وورلد وايد ايفنت دريم بيك. غادي نهضر بالأونغلي لحقاش لي زاني الاخرين هادو اللي دوزتهم كنت دوزتهم في سيستم سواء بريطانيك سواء امريكان، دونك لونغلي دابا ولات بحال هي اللغه اللي كنبقى نهضر فيها لو بليز دونك sorry for that again. So I'm Mohamed Belarbi, currently a student at New York University Abu Dhabi. I spoke at a couple of events already in Morocco, mostly pertinent to entrepreneurship, and it's a pleasure again today to be part of this conference with the other amazing speakers as well. I had the chance to meet a couple of you guys already, so I'm a familiar face, I hope. And I hope you enjoy the next couple of minutes with me. I am right now in Abu Dhabi, so I cannot be present in person to speak to you, but it's always how connectivity and the internet has pretty much bridged the divide or the distance among us, and it feels like I'm part of this event and present in Seoul, if not in thought. So I'll start speaking first about my track record, my journey towards entrepreneurship, and I hope it's going to inspire you as much as it inspired other people. I was just a couple of years back a Moroccan student in Rabat for 17 years. All I cared about was pretty much just getting good grades in maths, physics, chemistry, and you know how our parents, unless we just work so hard and get 100% or 20 over 20 in our exam, we're deemed to be a failure by the academic standards set by families across Morocco. And the only thing we could dream of, or at least to prove that we're successful, is to be an engineer or a doctor, or go to France for that matter to just study there and get a degree. And anyone else would think, oh, let me start my own thing, let me start my own project, is considered as crazy or as going nuts, or just simply as a failure. And your parents pretty much, the next thing you will hear from them is not words, but a slipper coming across the room and hitting you in the face. So for 17 years I was pretty much like in the same Moroccan mentality, just like hardworking, not necessarily in the smartest of ways. But alhamdulillah, at some point I got a scholarship to go study in Norway, and that's when everything changed. So I went to Norway. I was among 200 students in the International Baccalaureate at Red Cross Nordic United World College, and these 200 students were from almost 90 nationalities. So it was pretty diverse. You could see that I could have a UN session whenever I was going to the toilet or having lunch in the cafeteria. And these students were just amazing because they were there not only for academics, but they were there for other reasons as well. They were there for cross-cultural understanding. They were there to exchange experiences. They were there to start projects, volunteer, get to know the community outside. When you get pretty much engaged with such a community, you just pretty much change the way you perceive the world. And not only academics are everything that matters, but there are other things too that we start taking into consideration. When I saw these kind of people, amazing indeed, I decided that it's time for change. It's time to break with how we were brought up to perceive the world and how we were brought up to perceive academics. And I just needed a spark to see others, get inspired, have some role models that could just be next to me in class. In fact, there were students that already wrote books, attended conferences, spoke at TV sets, run businesses. And when you see such an amazing set of experiences, amazing projects going on, you just start realizing, or in fact questioning, what's your purpose in life? Is my purpose just to have a good grade in chemistry and then pretend that I'm a successful person in life? Or is it all a matter of making as much money as I can, becoming a doctor or an engineer? Is my satisfaction, in fact, thought of as my father's or my family's satisfaction, or is it my own satisfaction with what I do? Because my parents can be happy with me being an engineer or a doctor, but am I happy with that? And a lot of students are not just, that's not their passion, this is not their dream to become a doctor or an engineer. I mean, your dream can be to just put on a backpack and go travel all around the world, or your dream can be to become a pilot, your dream can be to be a politician, start your own business. I mean, this is like dreams are whatever we have in this life, because all other considerations are just timely. I mean, there will come a point where if your goal is making money, then you'll reach that point and that's it. If your goal is to be a doctor, you'll be a doctor and then that's it. But if your goal is to be happy, that's something that you can always go after, and that's something that goes for life. And see, you can be happy not necessarily only by being an engineer, but you can be happy with whatever thing you want in life. You just don't have to conform to what people tell you it is right or wrong. If you feel like not going to class, don't go to class. I'm not saying it in a negative way, not like just dump everything and just stay in your house just playing Xbox. No, I mean, if your goal is to do something beyond academics, like start a business, getting to know the ins and outs of the trade, go into a network, then sometimes attending class can be detrimental. I mean, I had to miss a lot of classes, for example, to go to conferences, to go to meetings, to do other things that sometimes are far more rewarding, far more interesting than going to class. I mean, always remember that for entrepreneurs, the key motto is work smart, not hard. I mean, you can be working 12 hours a day, and there will be another person working only 2 hours a day, but doing a better job than you are. Why? Because they are smart about how they work. It's not the matter of number of hours, or how many all-nighters you pulled, or how many hour shifts you managed to accomplish. No. It's a matter of reaching goals and setting smart shortcuts to reach those goals. Right? So never try to compare yourself with others based on how much time you spend on doing something. Because if you're spending 20 hours to do the same job as somebody else, that person is going to just like get tired and you won't get by. I mean, we don't have as much energy, as much time as we think. And we need to be smart about how we use them. They are a resource. In fact, the most important resource we have is time. And if we don't know how to manage it, if we just waste it like that on things that are time consuming, on things that are of no value, then you lost your life. And you remember, you only have one life. So make the most use of it. I remember, again, like the start of my entrepreneurial journey was, in fact, my travel to the Western Sahara camp. I know it's a sensitive topic. We know that there are Moroccan authorities, or at least Moroccan in general, finds it a taboo to talk about the Western Sahara, talk about the Polisario, the Tindouf camps and all that stuff. But I was different. In fact, I decided not only to question the general stance on the subject, but I decided to find for myself. And this is something I encourage all of you to do. Never settle for what people tell you. Never say it's good because others said it's good. Never say I want to be an engineer or a doctor because my parents or my grandparents or my cousins told me that engineering, or a doctor, being a doctor is the best way to go. Always find things for yourself, because that's the only way you're going to be satisfied. So I decided to find by myself what was going on around the whole topic of Western Sahara, and I started doing research. I was writing a research paper about the topic. And luckily enough, I traveled to the Western Sahara camps, to the Sahrawi camps, in Tindouf, in Algeria. And funny enough, I was the fourth Moroccan to go there. The three Moroccans before me were either political opponents or journalists, and all of them either ended up being jailed or exiled. So I'm lucky enough to be here in front of you today speaking. I might just as well be in a cell in Casablanca or in Rabat getting the shit beaten out of me. But yeah, things worked out as fine. And when I went to the Tindouf camps, it just struck me that how come not many Moroccans took the same journey to find out what was going on in there? How come not many people question the same topic, the same issue, and try to find for themselves? I mean, this is the essence of being an entrepreneur. An entrepreneur, at the end of the day, is just seeking your own answers. You don't like a product? You don't like what people say about it? Go find for yourself. You find an issue, a topic, or a certain opportunity that has never been tapped into or exploited, you go for it. Always do things differently. Following the herd just makes from you another sheep. Leading the herd makes of you a wolf. And we all want to be wolves in this game, because wolves are the biggest winners. Right? So yeah, I went to the camps. It was a life-changing experience. I'm not saying that either side is right or wrong. I'm just saying that the experience in itself was enriching in a way that it opened my eyes to so many possibilities. It made from me a person who always was so in love with taking risks. I didn't have frontiers. I didn't believe in obstacles. I didn't believe in the you can't, or you won't, or you will not be able to stances. I just said, fuck that shit. I'll do whatever it takes. I'll do whatever I feel comfortable doing. I'm not going to listen to somebody else. And whether it is a rebel or it is a smart way to go about life, it just worked out for me so far. The journey in the camps was amazing in itself. I mean, we were in the middle of nowhere. I was driven around in an SUV without brakes, without dashboard. We used to eat food sometimes with the worms and insects because there was no way to preserve food there. The water was always dirty, and it was always like so tense because it was weird for them to see Moroccan in the camp. Even one of the soldiers there, female soldiers, almost freaked out when she heard I was Moroccan, and she started shouting, you know, what are you doing here? Oh, you're a spy, or you. It was quite an interesting experience. And then when I came back, I just decided to have the same lifestyle or the same philosophy in my life, in my academics, in my professional endeavors, and even in my extra academic avenues and plans. So I decided to always take risks and never think twice. Because you realize this, whenever you start thinking too much about something, you end up not doing it. Because you lose that motivation, you lose that initial energy. Sometimes you are sitting with your friends and you say, oh, I have this amazing idea, let's do this and this and that, and you're so excited and you just want to go and like start working on it. And then your friends tell you, okay, let's just think about it a bit, let's take some time. You wake up the next morning and you say, oh, how stupid I was to think that way. Or you just like lose motivation to even think about the whole issue. But when you do it on the spot, don't think twice. The 3 seconds rule, think about something, after 3 seconds you have to go for it. That's a really great way to go about life. You'll always accomplish much, and you will take away that obstacle that is fear, or that is the fear of public perception, or how people are going to. We always try to think from other people's stance. What are my neighbors going to say about me? What are my parents going to think about me? What are my friends or my professor? But in fact, you should start thinking selflessly. What is there in it for you as a person, as an individual? You know, because no one else is going to live your life. Maybe people will say, that guy is great because he did this and this and that. But if you always rely on other people's comments or feedback, you will be their slave. You will always follow what's statistically so relevant to others, what's the average, the mean, the standard. That's what you're going to go for. And you'll always be average as a person. But if you do things differently, then you're going to get a lot of heat, a lot of criticism, a lot of people questioning your move, and that's good. You shouldn't be afraid of that. You shouldn't find it something that's negative. In fact, if you're not pissing people around, you're probably not doing anything worth noting or of value. So, doesn't matter if people like start talking behind your back, if people start saying, oh, that guy is a dumbass, he's stupid, is just out of his mind, don't give a shit. Just go for it. Because 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 10 years down the line, when you are going to be so successful, when these things that you did initially leads to great achievements in life, those will be the same people who are going to line up, trying to get your autograph, trying to get a picture with you, asking you, oh, remember me, I was with you in the 2nd grade or 3rd grade, and then they start trying to kiss your ass. And then that's your time to take, to enjoy the fact that, yes, you told me I can't, thank you, because you made me so angry, so determined to make it in life, to achieve it, and now here I am in front of you, enjoying my achievements. So it's going to sound really good when actually it happens, believe me, because it happened to me so many times. So definitely go for it. You have an idea, you have a plan, you have a goal, just put a certain blanket on your ears and move forward. Don't think twice. So that's what I did when I went to the camps, and I continued on doing after I came back. I started my first regional set of think tanks with a friend. It was something that opened our eyes on a certain topic, and that's how opportunities are created rather than given. So we were just sitting and thinking about the whole thing, Arab Spring. It was the time of the Arab revolution around in the Middle East and North Africa. And we just said, how can we exploit this historical event? Right? There were like kids, students shouting in the streets, asking for reforms, for change, for positive conduct of the state, for justice and equality. But then at the end of the day, it was all shouting, wasting time and energy in the streets. And we knew very well that the people who are going to be removed from power, there will be similar people who are going to go back again to power. Not necessarily the youth who have driven the movement, who have driven the revolution, but just rotten politicians who are going to ride on that wave and then take those seats or those parliamentary seats in the legislative body, or like be in power. So we said, how about we channel that anger, that energy on the street to something more productive? And we started the Arab Institute for Youth Policy Making. In just a few weeks, we were like already having several branches across the MENA region, in Tunisia, in Egypt, Gaza, Lebanon, and elsewhere. And we felt that we were making a positive change, because people, instead of shouting their demands, they would put them on paper. They were just like writing them in forms of policy papers, policy recommendations, and we were sending those papers around to policymakers or to NGOs interested in the topic, just so they can understand what the students or what the youth are demanding, what are their thoughts on a certain topic, what are their visions or their opinions on certain policy measure, and then maybe they can act on it, and maybe lobby for these to be passed. And that's something that is far more productive than just going and battling against security forces, throwing rocks, or just shouting down with the regime, down with the regime. Because we saw, for example, in Egypt, we saw elsewhere that, you know, those who were actually giving away their lives, risking their lives in the street, were not the ones who were given power at the end of the day. So it's always good to be smart and to always think ahead. Think 2, 3, 4 steps ahead. If I do this, what will it lead to? And be smart about like your next move. So we started the Arab Institute for Policy Making, and after that, I was lucky enough to speak at the Moroccan Entrepreneurs, Future Moroccan Entrepreneurs Conference in Morocco, Marrakesh, meeting wonderful students, and to share pretty much my journey, my entrepreneurial journey, my journey to Nora at that time. And it just struck me that there is so much potential. I mean, everyone is an entrepreneur in himself or in herself. You see young students, all so energetic, so ambitious to make a change, or they have this idea to start a business, to start an NGO, and all they're lacking is the proper guidance or orientation. I was talking to them afterwards and they say, well, you know, we have the idea, but we don't know how to go about it. We don't have the support, the right mentorship. And I said, well, I have those resources as a person who's gone through that process, and I can help. I can give back. And that's how the idea of Amine Foundation started. We launched with 5 Moroccan entrepreneurs chosen from the Future Moroccan Entrepreneurs Conference. And I just tried to help them, not only myself, but other students, by giving or donating your skills and time and networks to help those students. I mean, giving marketing packages for free, introducing them to clients, to potential supporters, give them classes in marketing, give them access to software on management consulting, all for free. And this sometimes is far more needed than a financial grant. You know, because we can't put a dollar figure on a skill or on a certain network or on a certain mentorship program, because these are sometimes the most needed. Money will come eventually at some point, but the right people, the right support network, sometimes it's really hard to find. So that the Amine Foundation did tremendously well, was to help students start their own businesses. We're still trying to help students as well. And in life, these are the things that keep you moving. When you feel that you are able to be of a positive impact on people around you. You know, because helping the students can seem as a trivial thing. Oh, he just spoke with him on Skype for 1 hour, told him about how to market his product. But in fact, that 1 hour is the essence of humanity, the essence of how we interact with each other. If you cannot be of value, if you cannot positively impact others around you, then all your efforts are just worthless. I mean, you see people, billionaires, working so hard their whole life to make billions after billions, and at the end of the day, they're only satisfied after they manage to put those millions or billions to service other people. I mean, Bill Gates, Warren Buffett, other billionaires, and it doesn't have to be only billionaires. You are also a billionaire. You also can be a philanthropist, because your skills, your time are priceless. Maybe just that hour you give that student can be worth $1 million in his eye. So just go ahead, never say, oh, I'm not powerful enough, I'm not rich enough to help. Always help. Always ask yourself, how can you be of value to some other people? If you ask that question, you will always feel that you are fulfilling the essence of your existence. You're finding yourself a value. You're doing something for others. And we are in fact great not because of our achievements, but because of how many people around us we help to accomplish new achievements. And again, it's a cycle. One day you might be the one helping, the other day when you need something, he might be the one helping you. I mean, it's happened to me so many times. You just do a favor for someone, and then the next day you start the project, or you have a person reaching out to you, and then you say, oh, I need that person again. He might like help me with this thing. And then you reach out to him, and he's more than willing to help because you helped him. See, it's not a one-way interaction. You're not only giving away, but you're also getting back as a result. So after Norway, I moved to New York University, Abu Dhabi, and a lot of people questioned my decision. You know, they said, why don't you go to an Ivy League? You know, you could go to Yale, Princeton, Stanford, whatever you want. I mean, you have the grades, you have the CV for it, you have the accomplishment, the projects, just go for it. Why? Why the United Arab Emirates? And this is how I say you should always think 2 or 3 or 4 steps ahead. The United Arab Emirates is a new country, full of wealth, full of ambition. It's the new El Dorado of the Middle East. It's an untapped market in so many ways. It's not so saturated because there are not millions and millions of companies. By being good at what you can be good at, by being the best at what you do, you are easily noticed. And if you are noticed, you can make waves here. It's easy to reach out to anyone, like people of all statuses. I mean, you can meet CEOs of multi-million-dollar companies, you can meet high-ranking officials just in a cafe in Dubai. That's how it's easy to network. They all hang out in a certain circle, and once you breach into that circle, you are set. You can make a great difference. You can like easily move forward rather than trying to fight your way so hard, wasting so much time and energy to just barely get an approval from someone in the UAE, in the United Arab Emirates. You can't do that easily because they'll always value new talent and they're going to jump into it to feed it and to nurture it. I mean, like, we've been winning competitions here all around, business competitions, meeting amazing people. Like, my network is just growing at a tremendous rate. Even like people in the United States reach out to us pretty much to tap into that network. So that gives you an idea on what's the potential of the UAE. It's in a way the new America of the Middle East. You know, they said that all new dreams can come true just with hard work in the United States just decades back. Well, the UAE is the new case for that. And that's why I decided to come here. I wanted to be part of something new, but at the same time make a difference. I mean, for example, the entrepreneurial framework here in the UAE is still nascent. I mean, there's not many seminars or workshops or meetups by entrepreneurs in the region. So once you pretty much like branch into that circle and try to make a difference, you can be a pioneer or a champion of the entrepreneurial scene here in the UAE, which we are working hard on with several partners like Higher Society, with Elite Daily, with also several entrepreneurs from the US to pretty much build that entrepreneurial sense here in the United Arab Emirates. And in that sense, Morocco is pretty much very advanced with that regard, because you see, like, you have all these different entrepreneurial circles, events. You have future Moroccan entrepreneurs. You have the National Entrepreneurial Challenge or Camp. You have the Thai Worldwide. I mean, you are privileged because you are part of this group. You are part of something that's like you're shaking the national scene. And entrepreneurs are one of the most valued resources in the long run. So make the most out of it. Make as many connections as you can, and also be of value whenever you can. Because if you seal your position in that entrepreneurial scene, you're going to go ahead very far and very quick. So coming back to my projects and businesses, after I came to the United Arab Emirates, I had the chance to start several new ventures. So after I started the Student of Marketing Strategies, we are now working with private individuals, with corporate magnets. We worked with Mubadala GE, with several high-ranking or top-tier companies and individuals on things ranging from marketing packages and visual identity to reputation building to SEO performances. And it's been a learning experience because I realized that you can be the best or you can be good at whatever you want. I mean, talent is not something you are born with, but something you acquire in the long run. I thought I would never be good in marketing because all I was pretty much like born to do was maths, chemistry, and physics. Yet today, I'm active in fields ranging from fashion to business to engineering products, and it just shows how the human potential is. It's limitless. The sky is the limit. No one can tell you that you are born to be an engineer. You can be an engineer, a fashion diva, you can also be an artist, a poet, you can be whatever you set your mind to be. And that's the beauty of the human intellect or the human potential. We are so different, and we have the potential to be whoever we are, but that's only accomplished once we start believing in ourselves. Once we start cutting with those negative ideas, negative thoughts, negative feedback, who tell you that, oh, you can't or you will not because you are not born for it. I mean, that's totally wrong. And you are the one who determines your own fate. You are your own obstacle and you are your own opportunity. So always keep that in mind. Always remember that you are the one who decides what your fate is. No one else can do that for you. So again, coming back to my project, I've been blessed to pretty much branch out in all sorts of fields. For example, we branched into the engineering field with our cutting-edge technology for clean solar panels. We've been granted seed funding by Siemens Corporation. We've been recognized by the Khalifa Fund, the largest incubator and fund for investment here for entrepreneurs in the UAE. I branched into fashion, with working with the Circle of Beautiful People, working with a couple of fashion designers from Italy, trying to bring their products here into the UAE. I worked in media and publishing. We have now one of the most thriving publications in the Gulf region, Gulf Elite magazine, and it's been an amazing, I'd say, journey, because I was learning about myself more than I learned when I was just sitting around and listening to what people thought of me. I mean, people told me back in Morocco I was a genius in math and physics and chemistry, and that's all I heard, all I listened to, and all I believed. And that's why I could only be good in that sense. But when I came here and I started doing things, getting my hands dirty, and feeling this is where I failed, this is where I was good at, this is what I had to improve, this is what I could do better, and that's how I started learning about myself and building that personality, building those skills. Because it's only by doing that you learn where you can improve and what is already good, and build on what you're already good at. And that's why I encourage you, especially in the audience, to not just sit down and listen to conferences, to people speaking and saying, oh yeah, I'm going to learn by listening to this guy or that guy. What you're going to learn is really, really minimal. I mean, the aim of even this talk, as I'm speaking to you today, is not pretty much to teach you, but just to inspire you to do something, to get out there and do some good work. Or some work at least. Get your hands dirty, experience. Try to start a new project, a new magazine, start a website, build a product, a software, an application. Whatever you do, just as long as you are producing something, generating something. Because sitting on a sofa and listening to someone speaking is not going to take you anywhere. And that's something I learned through my experience. I mean, I go now to conferences, to talks, not because I want to hear from the person, but because I want to contact or connect, for example, in those conferences. Talk remains talk at the end of the day. Actions, on the other hand, are something that is going to either break you or make you. And in most cases, it does make you indeed. So here we are. I mean, now I'm in my second year of university. Lucky enough, I changed from engineering to economics, finance, been taking some courses in politics and computer science. And this is something I would encourage you a lot to do, is to not always focus on your academic area of interest, but to always try to learn as many things as possible, even if they fall outside of your major concentration. I mean, you are an engineer, you like physics, good, great, but take some courses in art, in sculpture. You are an arts major, take some econ or business classes, because the more diverse your skill set is, the better you will be at tackling all sorts of situations. You might be in a, let's say, meeting with an engineer to work on a product, but if you don't know how to speak well, if you are not charming during a conversation, if you don't have an understanding of basic business practices, then you will never be on board. You don't have, like, this is a myth we have to debunk or to destroy. Being a specialist is something of the past. Being a generalist today is the way to go. Now the businessman has to also be good at marketing, he also has to be good at understanding the technology behind the product, he has to be good at politics, you have to be good in as many ways as possible, because that's the only way you're going to attract attention, to be noticed. And you know, in this world, with all the competition around, unless you get noticed, you'll never go far, believe me. So try to look at, for example, Steve Jobs. Why are we trying to hear like talking the theory? Look at Steve Jobs or other entrepreneurs. He took classes in calligraphy, he took classes in visual arts and design, and that's what made Apple the power it is today, because it's not only good in terms of performances, in terms of technology, in terms of electronics, but it's also good at the design of its product. How it's built that culture of visually appealing software and hardware that makes its client base so loyal to it. Because you always have to know that selling a product that does only its main function cannot take you far. But selling a product that gives so much additional value will make sure that your clients will go back and ask for more. They will stick by you and you will build a loyal fan base that can take you a long time if you're not doing that otherwise. So if I have pretty much to give a couple of advices to people sitting in the room today, it would be to, I know it sounds cheesy and always repetitive, but believe in your dream. I mean, people say it's obvious, but unfortunately it's not that obvious. Or people at least don't work by its stipulations. I mean, they tell you, oh yes, I'm going to follow my dreams and then I'll find myself homeless or jobless and my family is going to think of me as a failure. But believe me, unless you take the risk, you will never get the reward. Take risk, but take calculated risk at the same time. I'm not telling you just drop everything, put on a backpack, and then hope that you're going to become a millionaire one of those days. Know how to go, they say a goal without a plan is just a wish. Don't have wishes, have goals and plans. See that I want to be at this level, and I'm going to do A, B, C, D to reach that certain goal. Always plan ahead, and never settle for average. A lot of people can tell you this, you can have a normal bachelor, have a nice job, get your 6,000, 7,000, 8,000 dirham a month, and then you'll live a nice life. If that's what you're looking for, then good luck. I'm not going to tell you anything more. But if you're the guy who just wants to do something on the edge, earning millions, always doing things that are risky, being passionate about your job, loving every bit of it, waking up in the morning, not thinking, shit, I have to go work again, but thinking, God damn, I've been waiting for this time all along to just go back to the office and do what I love. If you're that kind of guy, then just take risks. Don't settle for average, don't let people tell you how you should move, just be the one who decides your own fate. Also, as I said, don't try to be a specialist. They will tell you you have to be the best at math, at physics, you have to be, if you want to be a surgeon, you just have to focus on surgery. No. Always diversify. Diversify your portfolio of skills and try to be good at everything. Of course, you're going to have one skill where you are the best at, the specialist, but try to complete or to complement those set of skills with as many talents as possible, or as many skills as possible. We in Morocco, I know it's hard. We don't have that culture yet of entrepreneurship, of doing what you want in life. But if we don't build that culture, no one will. If we are not the ones who pretty much say no to those standards, to those customs of always following the plan your parents set for you, if we don't start it today, well, it will never happen. So try to be the change you want to see in this world, as Mohamed said. Try to be the ones who push back against those traditional understandings of work, of passions, of entrepreneurship, and try to prove everyone wrong. Also, try not to always rely on others to provide you with solutions. You know, like we find a lot of jobless just going around next to the parliament and putting all banners, oh, the state is evil, oh, the state is bad, oh, they have to give us jobs. Don't be that kind of person. Don't wait for somebody else to hire you, create your own job. There is never a shortage of things you can innovate at. There is no pretty much checklist of, oh, all the jobs are already taken. The doctors are taken, the engineers are taken. No, there are so jobs that are existing today that have not existed in the past. whether a year or a month or even week. Jobs are always created, and with the amazing technology in our hands today, with the social media, with the connectivity, with the easy access to programmation software, you can pretty much create whatever you want. It's just a matter of determination and the willingness to change. Don't be a follower, a slave of what people have to give to you, the crumbs, because that's 7,000, 8,000 dirham. Do you think it's enough? Do you think you worked your life hard just to get those pieces of money at the end of the month? You deserve much more. You deserve to be millionaires. With the state of mind you have, with the ambition you have, you deserve to be a game changer. And that's what you need to be. You need to believe in yourself and go show everyone that indeed you can make a difference. And I hope just all of you, in a year's time, in a month's time, I want to see you on the internet, on social media, hearing about your accomplishments, hearing about how you started your first company, hearing about how you wrote your first book, hearing about the application you just launched on Apple Marketplace. I want to see you doing things. And believe me, once you start, the process is easy. It's just a matter of starting. That's the hardest part. Once you overcome that bump, then the sky is the limit. I mean, I'm not saying this out of just theory. I've been through this. And I'm still going through it every time and every day. And I'm always so grateful that I managed to break away from that archaic mentality and start things, like taking my fate in my hands. And I advise you to do the same. I mean, the theme of this conference is dream big. I want you to dream big, dream huge. Think of whatever crazy things you want to do and just start working on it. Just start working on it. However much it seems impossible, hard to do, in no way you're going to be able to accomplish it, just say, fuck that shit. I'm just going to start working on it, and whatever happens, I don't care. As long as you take the initial steps. Life is so short when you think about it. So what are you going to make out of it? Are you going to be this kind of guy who's going to live all his life, and then at the end of his death he's going to regret that he didn't do that thing or take that steps or ask that girl out or start that business? Or are you going to be the guy who, when you're dying, like in your deathbed, you say, damn, I did what I wanted to do. I lived my life to the fullest. I lived it by my own conditions, and I'm so glad I did that. So which kind of guy do you want to be? Because when you think about it, it's not that far away. You can just blank open your eyes and you're 50, you're 60, you're 70, and life has gone by. What did you do? What was your legacy? Ask yourself. How will people remember you? How will you remember yourself? These questions are hard, and you need to start thinking about them. I know you're probably 16, 17, 18, 20. You need to start thinking about these ideas or these questions, because they're going to set the course for your life for the rest of your life. It's been a pleasure to speak to you today. Unfortunately, I could not be present in person, but my contact details will be available after the conference. Please reach out to me if you're interested in talking this further, if you're interested in exploring new projects, new venues for growth, and I'll be more than willing to help in whatever capacity I'll be able to help. And it's been real, guys. It's been real. Thank you very much for hosting me. I hope I didn't bore you too much with my talk, and I hope to meet as many of you as possible when I come back to Morocco and start great things together. So keep in touch, do whatever you have to do, be the best at what you are, don't settle for average, and believe in your dreams. Believe in your dreams. Cheers, guys.